Hi and welcome. So this time around we're testing my new microphone, and it's a lav mic, and so hopefully it'll pick up my voice better than it picks up machine sounds, and it'll make it easier for you to understand what I'm having to say. Maybe that's not a good thing. It's entirely possible. So this time around we're going to investigate how, instead of just the traditional slot head screw that you can make at home, how we can make things with an Allen, a Torx, a square drive, any of a whole variety. And the way you do that, or one of the ways, is to use a rotary broach. And that's different than a rotor broach that cuts holes. A rotary broach is a holder that fits either in your tailstock or cross slide, needs to be centered on the part very accurately, and it holds a die like this Allen die right here, Allen head die, and you pop it in. And you tighten it down, and now the center part has bearings and it's allowed to rotate, and my understanding is it allows a tiny bit of wobble from side to side, and that wobbling allows these points to cut the Allen head, to actually broach it into the part you're working on. Some of the rules are that the flat to flat width, you should pre-drill a hole that is 3% larger, or multiply the diameter, or this flat to flat width, by 1.03, and that'll give you the size of drill bit you need to pre-drill with. Same for the Torx. I have some used Torx bits here that I got as a lot, and they're the wrong shaft size, so I need to make an adapter for them to work, but you can do Torx bits the same way, and you do the minor diameter, which is the inside spacing here, and go 3% larger. Square is a little bit different percentage. Anyways, so then you can go to a depth that is about a max of 2.5 times the flat to flat width here, but they recommend no more than 2 times, although supposedly you can go a little more. And anyways, we're going to head over to the lathe and give this guy a test and see how it works, and just give some examples of it so that you can get an idea of how this how you can make your own Allen headed screws. Like, a lot of times I'm making a custom screw and I don't want it to be a slot, like the camera holding adapter. I didn't have this, so I made a slot, but I actually would prefer an Allen or a Torx, or I would love a Phillips, but I don't know if they have any Phillips cutters. I haven't seen any. Anyways, let's head over to the lathe and see how this thing works. So the first step here is to face this piece of brass. I'm starting with brass. You can do any kind of metal pretty much if you get the right cutter. So we're going to start with some brass. We're going to face it off, and I recommend leaving a little bit of extra material. So you want it to be proud a little bit more than your final face spacing is going to be, so that you can remove that chamfer if you want and have a perfectly flat face if that's what you want. Or if you want to keep the chamfer for looks, then don't worry about it. So let's face this guy first. Very nice. Next up, we're going to measure the flat to flat spacing, 0.3155, and we're going to take 0.3155, multiply by 1.03, and that gives us 0.325 essentially. So we're going to go find a drill bit that's 0.325 and be right back. Alright, so first step, we're going to drill a center hole on this guy. Now the angle of the chamfer on the center drill is 60 degrees. What they call for is a 60 degrees aside. They're calling for 45 degrees aside. So we're going to have to use a different chamfer tool. This one is a 90-degree chamfer tool, which is 45 degrees aside. So we're going to start by doing a center drill. We're going to follow that up with a P drill bit, which is about the closest thing just under the size they're asking for that's non-metric. And then we're going to come back and chamfer it, and then we're going to use the rotary broach. I gotta say, you really gotta love working with brass. It is so easy to work with. Oops. All right, P drill bit. Oh, your depth needs to be a little bit more than the depth you're intending on going with your broach, because as the broach penetrates the part, the rotary broach penetrates the part, it's pushing chips in front of it and there's nowhere for them to go. So your hole needs to be a little bit deeper. Next stop is the chamfer tool. And I'm really not a big fan of these chamfer tools. For me, they always chatter, but let's see what we can do here. I could slow it down a little bit. No. And there's that chatter that I love so much. Okay, that's more countersink than we probably need. Next up, we've got to mount the broach. So I'm going to do it in the tail stock rather than the cross slide, because for me the tail stock is dead on center. I don't have to worry about centering it. It just makes it convenient. So I have a tool here that I made a while ago. This is actually for a rotor broach, and rotor broach shanks that I bought are 3/4 shank. So I bought a rotary broach with also a 3/4 shank. It's a bit long, it sticks out a little bit, but it works. So I have an MT4 to 3/8 24 threaded piece that fits in the bottom. I have another video where I showed where I made this. So I just screw this guy on here, and I'm going to load the rotor broach, and I'll bring you right back. I called it rotor broach, rotary broach. It's funny because they're so close in names that I kind of mix them up sometimes. This is a rotary broach as opposed to, wait for it, a rotor broach. This is a rotor broach, although this is a copy because I think rotor broach is actually the brand name, and this is a rotary broach. So next we're just going to spin this guy up and we're going to run the broach in, and you will watch it'll start spinning, but as it's spinning it wobbles ever so slightly. My understanding is that they have this like a 1 or 2 degrees off axis so that it forces it to wobble so it'll cut. Now I had the hole go all the way through this part, so far you can't see anything. So let me face off some of this material and let's take a look. So as we zoom in here, you can see there is an Allen, out of focus. You can see there is an Allen screw in there, and it kind of chowdered the chamfer up a little bit. You probably can do better than I did. This is just my first go at it. So you can probably do better without having it bounce around before it actually starts cutting. So I'm going to face that off and we'll see what we have left. Let's take a pretty big bite here. It's only brass. There's the first pass, a little bit of chamfer left over. Let's just do another pass. Remove the chamfer altogether so you can get a good look at what it's doing. All right. So you can't see much yet, but there you go. Now you can see the hex screw, the hex pattern that's put in it. And you can see that it pushed the chips ahead of it. Let me get this down here. So you can see that as it was cutting, it pushed the chips ahead of it, but look how clean that cut is. It's actually really pretty. Now brass is easy, but you can do this in stainless and titanium and other materials as well. You just need the right coatings on your broaches. Maybe we'll give a shot with some steel, try some steel and see how that works. Also, let's see how this guy fits. I forget what size this is. Okay, there you go. How's that for a good fit? All right, so I've prepped a piece of cold rolled steel here, chamfered it and drilled it, so you don't have to watch that part. And when you're doing most metals, if not all metals, they do recommend using lube with it. I didn't on the brass because I thought I could get away with it, and it seems like it's okay, but maybe you're even supposed to use lube for that. If you're doing things like stainless and titanium, they have a special lube they recommend. So we'll go a bit slower, same RPM again, 680, that's what they recommend, and we're just going to give it a shot. So here we go. So a bit more resistance on the tailstock, but it's going nicely. All right. Let's take a look and see what we've got. So I think leaving the chamfer is great for the Allen because look at that fit. It guides it right in there, and then it's a great fit. Pop this guy out of here, take a look. So you can see where it pushed material ahead of it, and it's a pretty darn clean Allen head bolt head, if you like. So I think a little bit of chamfer is a great idea. I chamfered it after the fact because I removed all the material down to the chamfer, but then I'd have to go in with a file and remove the burrs on the edge. The chamfer actually helps guide the Allen wrench in, which is a big handy, nice handy feature. All right, so here are the several examples I made. I did both sides of this brass one just testing it out, and it worked out great. With the brass one, you can see how it created a little ledge in there, hopefully. I don't know, it's kind of tight to see, but it created a little ledge as it pushed the material ahead of it. I faced both these so that you could see how square it cut, or how hexagonal it cut. And here's the cold rolled, and you can also see how it pushed material ahead of it. And this one I put a chamfer on after I had done it to remove burrs, and this one came out really good. I am really pleased with this one. So now I've got all new options for finishing screws and bolts I make. You can either put a hex head external, a slot on it, or now I can do Allens or potentially Torx. So the way I did this is with a broach, a rotary broach, and you can find them used on eBay for a couple $100. This one I bought new, but I don't necessarily recommend that. That's very expensive. It's a really high quality one. It's not an industrial one. It's for small quantities. If you were actually making large quantities, you get the kind that have a Zerk fitting where you pump grease into them every hour. This is not that style, but for home users, this is perfect. It's a great addition to my shop. It gives me new options. I'm kind of excited about it. Thanks for watching. Hope you find it useful. Hope to see you next time.